Imagine a company that dominates its global industry so thoroughly it moves millions of tons of product across every continent, yet remains entirely invisible on the Fortune 500 list. In a single year, this organization funneled over $223 billion into its treasury, outpacing Apple's total pre-tax profit by nearly $100 billion. It moves 2.4 trillion units of product annually. Stacked end to end, they would stretch from Earth to the sun. That company is China Tobacco, and its product kills 2.4 million of its own customers every year. Most governments regulate products that cause mass death. Here, the corporation pulling the strings and the government supposed to cut them are the same entity. Epidemiologists track the commercial determinants of health, the specific ways corporate activities lead to sickness. Usually, it is difficult to pin the blame on one source. You cannot trace a single heart attack to one fast food chain, or link lung disease to a specific coal plant down the road. China Tobacco is different. As a vertically integrated monopoly, they control every step from planting the seed to selling the final product. For decades, they have manufactured and sold almost every cigarette consumed within the country. That absolute control leaves behind a clear footprint. Between 1990 and 2023, there were 68 million tobacco-related deaths in China. These deaths represent a deliberate commercial outcome, engineered by a state-run monopoly that controls the market from the ground up. Western tycoons introduced mass-produced cigarettes to China in the late 19th century, but the Communist Revolution fully embedded the habit. The state nationalized the industry, and top leadership openly endorsed the product. Successive leaders maintained that normalization. A foreign import became a state-controlled monopoly that now accounts for nearly half of all cigarette purchases on Earth. The government relies on the income. China Tobacco provides roughly 7% of China's central revenue. To put that in perspective, cigarette sales effectively finance the country's entire military defense budget. Because the profits flow directly into the national treasury, smokers often joke that lighting up is a way to help build warships. Every puff funds the state apparatus. The governing structure places China Tobacco directly inside the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology. This puts the nation's sole cigarette manufacturer in charge of regulating itself. It is an arrangement where the dealer is also the doctor and the enforcement agent. They use this authority to protect the business. When China signed a major World Health Organization anti-tobacco treaty, China Tobacco executives participated in the translation, weakening the language in the Chinese version. The company also works to preserve the social acceptability of smoking. Over the last decade, as various Chinese cities attempted to pass smoking bans, the company used its political power to block those local efforts. Regulatory enforcement follows a pattern of self-interest. Recently, the company banned private competitor-made flavored vapes, citing child safety, while continuing to market its own fruit-flavored cigarettes. Public health policy in China is being dismantled from the inside by the very agency tasked with its enforcement. To maintain sales, the company relies on debunked marketing. They push low-tar cigarettes, utilizing junk science to convince smokers they are making a safer choice. While other countries mandate plain packaging covered in graphic medical imagery, China Tobacco uses elegant, patriotic designs. The text warnings are small and often blend directly into the box. They even reach into the education system. The monopoly sponsors dozens of rural elementary schools, naming them after cigarette brands and painting pro-tobacco slogans on the classroom walls. Through youth targeting and deceptive branding, China Tobacco secures a continuous supply of new users to replace the millions they lose every year. Why does the government allow this if it has to pay for the health care of millions of sick citizens? This financial pressure forced Big Tobacco to settle in the West. In 1997, U.S. states sued the major manufacturers because the government was going bankrupt paying for the end-of-life care of smokers. China avoids this through a massive loophole. The country's basic health insurance only covers a fraction of the cost for treating diseases like lung cancer. The financial burden of dying falls on the citizen, while the state keeps the profits. Advocacy groups once attempted to challenge this system in court, but rising authoritarianism has shuttered the civil society organizations and legal teams that previously targeted the company. The financial and legal pressures that force tobacco companies to surrender in other countries do not exist within this closed system. With domestic dominance secured, China Tobacco is moving into the global market. Tying into the Belt and Road Initiative, the company is exporting cigarettes to 125 countries. To bypass local laws in markets where they aren't permitted, they operate through shell companies and coordinate with smugglers. The world's deadliest corporate entity operates beyond the reach of standard regulations.